Okay, so here's number 7 on the calculator like I promised. So this is the one about the castle, people entering and leaving the castle. So I'm going to go to y equals, and I actually have them both in there, but I'm going to take them out. Start from scratch. So the original question talked about f of t being the number of people in the castle, where f prime of t was the rate of people entering the castle. So that's what we want is this. So 380 parentheses 1.02 to the x parentheses. Come down to y2. I'm going to put in 240 plus 240 sine, and then the parenthesis popped up. I need pi, and then parentheses x minus 4 parentheses divided by 12. Close the parentheses on the sine. I'm actually turning both of these off. Whoops. Turn them both off, highlight them and do that. And then down here, because for the amount of people in the castle, I always use a of t, we would start with the original number of people in the castle, which there were none, so that's a 0. And then integrate from 1 to t. It's a 1 because the interval was 1 to 11. And then we need f prime of t minus g prime of t. That's the rate in and the rate leaving. So remember, when we want a maximum, we actually go to the derivative. Well, the derivative of this thing is just going to be f prime of t minus g prime of t. There are different ways to do this, but this is the way I would do it. We're going to set it equal to 0, right? y1 minus y2. I'm going to write that because I'm showing you what's in my calculator. But I'm actually going to create a function y3 that is those two. So I'm going to come down to y3, and I'm going to do alpha trace y1 minus alpha trace y2. I'm going to make my window 1 to 11, and I'm going to hit graph. So I want to see, where does this thing cross the x-axis? But specifically, I want to say, where does it cross the x-axis from positive to negative, because that's what would be a max. So I'm looking for this spot right here. So I'm going to hit trace. I'm going to bring it down. I can see by the y values it's getting closer to the x-axis. There it is. I can see it blinking. Second, calculate 0. Left bound, enter. Right bound, you have to move it across the x-axis. Hit enter. Guess enter. And we get 7.888. That is the time when it goes from positive to negative. That means it's a max. Now it doesn't ask for what the amount of that max is, just what is the time. So 7.888 is what it would be. I'm going to show you one more because then I'm supposed to be tutoring here in a second. There was another question. It was number 6, and I got stumped during 3rd period because of the answer choices. I didn't do anything wrong at all. It was just something dawned on me during 5th period. It's where we had the y equals e to the x. We had the horizontal line y equals e to the 3rd. And we were finding the volume of this shape being rotated around y equals -1. So the setup was absolutely correct that I did in class. Pi from 0 to 3. We need to start with the -1 and subtract the farthest function, which is e cubed squared, minus that -1 minus the closer function, e to the x, quantity squared, and I use brackets this time, dx. So here's what I want to show you. This is what dawned on me, because this doesn't look like the answer's there to choose from. Inside here, if you thought of factoring out, since those both have a -1, so picture this, factoring out a -1, that's going to be 1 plus e cubed quantity squared. You could do the same thing with this one. If you have a -1 out here squared, that's going to turn into a positive. So this is going to turn into a positive, and we would just have 1 plus e cubed quantity squared. This one you would do the same thing to. that negative that you factor out would square and it'd be positive, so we'd have 1 plus e to the x squared. Now, on the answer choices, those are switched where it's e cubed plus 1 and e to the x plus 1, but they're the same thing. So it was the last answer, I believe. I believe it was E on that particular form. Good luck.